How did the recent presidential election make you feel? Do you want to ensure that the next election has more viable options that meet your qualifications? If yes, then I suggest you keep an open ear for what I'm about to propose to you. Our leaders in the United States government in this very year alone have undergone more scrutiny than when Nixon was in office for the Watergate incident. But this time, it was an email server containing thousands of classified information that was possibly hacked by foreign entities. Now I'm bringing this up to you today because the election between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump proved that our nation is more divided than ever before. I feel the need and the obligation to persuade my fellow citizens of the United States that each and every one of us has a voice, and our voice needs to be heard. No qualification needed, just a bold individual with a voice. The purpose of my speech is to hopefully persuade everyone here to get involved in their community civically. I believe that everyone should involve themselves in civic duties because our participation makes a difference in our communities by improving our quality of life, ensuring our representatives truly represent the citizens' views, and national values. What is the difference between being civically engaged and volunteering? And how does civic engagement improve our quality of life? Before I get into the where and how of things, let me first begin by saying that we should identify the difference between being engaged civically and volunteering for your community. According to an article by the New York Times titled "The Definition of Civic Engagement means working to make a difference in the civic life of our communities and developing the combination of knowledge, skills, values, and motivation to make that difference. It means promoting the quality of life in a community through both political and non-political processes." That's all nice, but how does that differ from volunteering? Well, per a blog by volunteermesh.org, that the service category is not necessarily service with an organization. In fact, while as much as 90% of all Americans are active in any given category, only 25% of people surveyed volunteer with a nonprofit. So civically active is not the same as a volunteer. We should involve ourselves in our communities because we need to be a positive change in how our country is run. By volunteering locally in your city, state, church, or community, you can personally influence the leadership around you. Taking that first step is what leads to changing a nation from the outside in, which is needed because the elites are the ones inside and we the people are on the outside. In order for us to effectively have leadership that connects truly with the heart of citizens of this once great nation, we need honesty and integrity above all else. To reach a pinnacle of transparency in our elected officials. More importantly, we need to ensure that our representatives reflect our values. The answer to that, of course, is by voting. Voting, sadly, is not utilized by every American citizen. And according to the latest census report by census.org, the population of the United States of America is a whopping 324 million people. But only 83 million ballots were counted out of the 227 million eligible voters in the United States. This was, of course, a report done by electionproject.org. Now, comparing that to the 2016 election between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, we had an increase of 43 million people who participated this year alone in voting, according to statisticbrain.com. With that being said, I encourage all of you here today that are enlightened, concerned with voting, that when more of us engage ourselves in voting, we are openly participating in the altercation of our history, whether we vote or we don't vote. Our national values derive from those not in Washington, but from the citizens that make up the United States of America. We are the people whose voice should be emanating from their mouths, not some elites who deepen their pockets with repugnant cash from foreign entities. For the love of our country and freedom, we need to vote. When we don't vote, our republic is being squandered away. An article titled "The Importance of Voting" states, our elected officials know who votes. They know. Which means they know who to pander to the most in order to gain their vote. Think on that for a moment. We are talking about selective manipulation of our republic. In conclusion, we need to be active in our communities. We need to engage civically in our country for the purpose of ensuring our values are held. Now, you heard me once in the beginning of my speech say that I believe that everyone should involve themselves in civic duties because our participation makes a difference in our communities by improving our quality of life, ensuring our representatives truly represent the citizens' views and national values. As I stated earlier, I am no different than you, and I hold no position of authority on this matter, other than I'm just a concerned citizen who wants his voice to be heard. Therefore, together, we hold all the power in this great nation. And when we unite as a people, and not by some race category, or by some little box that does not represent who we are, we become an immovable force to be reckoned with. Do you want dramatic change in our government? Do you know what you need to do? If so, there's nothing more for me to say other than make your voice be heard.